welcome to Season 2 of the Chair 9 podcast. This winter, we will be celebrating 75 years of skiing and riding here at Dodge Ridge. We're going to share some never-before-heard stories from this legendary mountain we call home. Boot up, click in, and get ready to take a ride on Chair 9. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another season of the Chair 9 podcast. I'm your host, Jake Noonan. Today, I'm sitting down with Tricia O'Brien, who just wrote a very phenomenal book that you can find in the sports shop and other places, I'm sure. Tricia, why don't you take it away and kind of introduce yourself and talk about how
this came to be?
How this came to be.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm Tricia O'Brien. I have been writing with Arcadia since 2005, so this is my fifth book with them. And I had actually started writing about the Stanislaus National Forest and then was approached because Dodge is having their 75th anniversary. Could we do a book? And so I approached Arcadia and did a proposal, did the pitch, then it goes to the internal pitch. And from what I understand, it got accepted like on the spot, which was unheard of. Unheard of, but so many people from all the different regions around the country at Arcadia had a story about Dodge, which I thought was really incredible. But that's kind of the charm of this place. Yeah. It's widespread. So yeah, I put this together in record time, which I will never do again. Seriously, it's like I think late October, it got accepted, and I had to deliver by March 4th. Wow. Which means to put these together, I need to find all the photos. I need to find all the stories that go with it. And then there's a lot of technical stuff behind the scenes with word counts and then quality of photos, size restrictions, and then is it horizontal, vertical, all those things come into play. So it's not as easy as like, oh, I got this photo, just stick it in. And matching stories to photos and things like that, it takes time. But the community here was so excited about it and so helpful that we were able to pull it off.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So you talk about the time commitment and all the photos and the word count and all that stuff, and you also have to sit down and chat with these individuals who you're writing the book about. I'd imagine that there's some pretty incredible stories that came from that, as well as it being time consuming. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, some of the stories, the devotion to this place is just unreal. The passion, it was really cool. So I've talked to people who helped actually build this place. It was forest. Mm-hmm. There was nothing here. Literally a road had to be built. It was a fire road. Mm-hmm. So like all those logistics, finding out about all that stuff. And then talking to people about, how do you even figure out where to put the runs? How do you get the trees down? How do you get the equipment in? Like there's photos of like helicopters bringing equipment in and stuff. So stuff like that's pretty cool. And then you go into like, all right, well, now what do we do? They started out with rope tows. They didn't have the fancy chairs that you have now and all the high speed stuff. And, going into the evolution of how Earl Purdy even had his vision. And he literally wrote it on the back of a matchbook. Okay. And it came out pretty much exactly how he drew it, which is pretty phenomenal. Yeah, so that's an engineering feat on its own. And then it grew from there. And right now, it's even expanded. There's a whole new section that didn't even exist. I don't even think Earl Purdy had it on his radar. So I go through all that. I also go through, the ski school. Mm-hmm. This is like Paul Mundy. He's like a national known person for ski school. Yeah. At Dodge. That's pretty phenomenal.
Oh, that's great.
You have people like John Mahana, arguably the father of freestyle skiing, who is a Dodge. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
So did you grow up in the area and have this history of Dodge prior to writing this book? Or did you, have a glimpse of it and then through writing this, you just found out all these stories and this rich history?
I had no connection with Dodge until I moved up here, but 5 years ago. Okay. So, but I did find out I had a connection that I didn't realize I had. Earl Purdy had investors in the beginning, and one of them was Dr. Morrison. Dr. Morrison lived in San Mateo, where my father grew up.
Okay.
And Dr. Morrison delivered my father.
Oh, my goodness.
And my father is like, well, my firstborn, Dr. Morrison, I want you delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And I came a few days early. I'm a December baby. And Dr. Morrison was at Dodge skiing.
Oh, no.
My mother never forgave him.
Oh,
my whole life, I heard about that darn doctor who was skiing when you were born. And I didn't mean anything to me. But then I started hearing, doing this and doing the research of Morrison. And when Dr. Morrison came up and they lived in San Mateo, I went, wait a second.
Is this the same doctor that my mom's grumbled about
Yes.
for years?
And so I talked to some of his family, and sure enough, it was. So that's my connection, really.
Okay.
I mean, now I've skied here and since I've lived here and been part of it. But I did not grow up doing this. But some of my friends did. So now they're excited to do this.
Yeah. And
read about it.
What a full circle moment to, hear that grumbling growing up about your mom. And then had you not have written this book, you probably would have never.
No, I would not have ever put it together.
Wow. So, well, that's great. That's a fun little bit to share in the book and something that you experienced. So I was counting this morning. There's 195, I think, if I counted correctly, photos.
Photos? Okay. I thought there was like 200 maybe, but yeah.
Okay. My math, I might have counted
Close
wrong.
enough, but yeah.
So you talk about the word limit, and I'm assuming there's an image limit. How did you kind of condense all of your photos and all the stories? I'd assume that was probably pretty difficult.
It was, because there's so much more that could be included in this book. So like I said, I started at the beginning. How did this even come to be? And then just kind of took it from there and just went with what was passionate to people when I talked to them.
Mm-hmm.
And most people took their first lesson here. So I wanted to focus on that for sure. And then just the evolution of even like ski wear, what they wore back then and what they wear now. And the fact that everybody skied before and they had fun and did all that stuff. There were a lot of shenanigans that went on. But then it became racing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the racing. And then snowboarding came to be. So I went into that. So just went along with the evolution of Dodge and then all the changes. When Frank took over, one of his first things was to put in Chair 3,
mm-hmm.
which is a big deal back then.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Yeah.
And not everybody today realizes how revolutionary that was.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go into the expansion. And that was another really huge deal on so many levels, environmentally and just the mechanics of it and all. And he pulled it off. Yeah. Which people take for granted today if they hadn't been here before. But it's pretty amazing what's been accomplished here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's incredible. I feel very fortunate to work here, and even working here and growing up here. I mean, I was flipping through the book and reading through it, and there's things that I learned in there where I had no idea. I grew up and maybe took it for granted, like, so to speak. But yeah, the process is incredible, and I think you did a really good job touching on that and painting a picture of, the stories and everything that it took to get Dodge how it is today. So. Yeah,
and I always try and dig a little deeper. My first book, I learned that there's more that's meaningful to people than you realize.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and take that with me in my other books and include that. And, sometimes it's just the camaraderie. And people take that for granted too. Mm-hmm. But it's deep here.
Oh, definitely.
It's really deep. And that's really cool.
Yeah. So through the process and interviewing people, you mentioned coming across people as well where they feel like they're a part of this community. Can you kind of touch on that and share what that experience was, what Dodge means to people?
Yeah, so there's a few things. There's people who have been coming here forever, since day one, learned how to ski here, then their kids, their grandkids, and I think in a couple situations it's even going into great, which that's just amazing to me. So there's that community, but then there's also a lot of people who actually grew up here. Like they aren't from other places.
Mm-hmm.
And so hearing their stories is a different take and a fun take, and just how personal it is. I mean, it's embedded in them.
Yeah.
And then there's the people who work here. Talking to the employees was actually really cool.
I'm sure.
And there's multiple generations even of employees, which I don't see that happening anymore. And to have that, and people are excited to like, my dad worked there, my grandpa worked there, I want to work there too. I personally think that's really cool, and that's special.
Yeah.
I mean, that's lost in a lot of places in the world now, and to have that at Dodge is, I think, phenomenal. People have reunions here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just
people have weddings. My cousin Mariah got married here. I know in the book too, you have Rebecca who works the bar, and she got married here. And
yep.
So
yep, and her kids are now active here.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of families that have generations.
Frank and Sally, and you have Katie, and now Malachi works here as well.
Yeah.
So deep family roots, the whole Sandberg family. I think there's a Sandberg in pretty much every department here. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is. And that's not uncommon.
No.
I mean, you look at all the departments and you'll find like people are married together. Their kids are now working here. And it's just their life, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I talked to Jason, was on an episode last year, Jason Smith and his son Caleb. He's kind of passed the torch, and now Caleb's, doing what Jason was at his same age. So
yeah.
No,
and you'll see it in every department, I think.
Yeah.
You'll multiple generations coming in. And then also with the ski teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've got some kids who grew up doing the racing, and now they're running the racing.
Yes, I saw that in one of the photos. One of the photos where it's like some of these racers are now like head of the department, or running the race team.
Yeah, so, and how cool is that?
That's great. That's great. So
I think that's extra special.
I think so too. It's a great place to be. So
it is.
Awesome.
It is. Like I said, I did not grow up doing this, but it's home now.
Yeah.
Like I'll come hang out here all the time. You'll see me in the cafeteria, just even writing other books and stuff if I'm not out there.
Yeah, it's a great place to be. So.
Yeah, it's fun.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Are you tired of riding the chairlift all by your lonesome? Does the empty feeling of making turns with nobody by your side get you down? Get stoked again and grab the Dodge Ridge Party Pack for you and all your friends. 4 tickets any way you want them for $469. Purchase now at dodgeridge.com.
So with all this that you've learned through the process and these people that you talked to and the photos and sorting through everything, can you kind of walk us through some of your favorite stories or favorite people that you interviewed? If you can, I know there was a lot, or favorite images even, or some memorable ones that stuck out.
One of my favorite images, and I was hoping they would do it on New Year's Eve, is the torchlight parade.
Okay. Yeah.
I always thought that was really cool. And that's the instructors and I think some of the ski patrol.
Ski patrol, yeah.
And they had flares. Mm-hmm. And they'd come down, Happy New Year, torch would go out in the snow. I mean, where do you do that, right? Yeah. And then have all the fireworks. I thought that was pretty cool. I had the privilege of meeting Votonov, who was the first female ski instructor in Northern California.
Yeah.
She's in her 90s now, still a pistol. And her stories were hilarious. And she talked about, just what it was like to drive from, I think she was in San Mateo, I think, up here in her little Fiat. Back then, she was a speed demon. She figured out how to suction cup her skis to her little Fiat. Uh-huh. And you have to imagine, way back then, the roads were different.
Yeah.
Conditions were different.
And a tiny little Fiat cruising up here.
At full speed.
Yeah.
The cops were chasing her one day.
Oh, my goodness.
And they couldn't catch her. And she finally realized, she's like, I see this smoke coming from behind in my car. Uh-huh. And it was a cop car. And she's like, so she pulls over, what is your problem?
Yeah.
And he's like, lady, how do you go so fast? He's breathing heavily. Couldn't keep up.
That's hilarious.
And she's like, well, I have to teach ski lessons. I need to get up there. Yeah. What's your problem?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to work on time.
And she was she was skiing down the hill real fast. teaching people how to do it.
Okay.
And then she actually married a 49er.
Okay. San Francisco 49er
football player. And her stories about that were pretty funny because the athletics of a football player are completely different than a skier.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mesh. So she talked about training all them, and she's like, no, they just can't do it. Play football, yes. Ski, no.
Did he bring some of his friends that were San Francisco 49ers up to try to learn, or was it more?
The 49ers actually sent them up.
Okay.
And just thought it would be a fun thing for them to do.
Wow.
And this was the closest snow to the Bay Area, as you know. So it just happened, and then they hit it off, and it went from there.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. See, things that, I mean, I certainly didn't know, and I'm sure the general public, I mean, unless they were there, probably didn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know these things. And then there's cute stories like Bob Patton grew up here. His father, Ray Patton, ran the ski school for a long, long time. And then I'm hearing stories about when he was a little kid, they had this thing called the Bunny Den. And it was basically like a babysitting place, right?
Okay.
And so he would go in there and he'd eat his lunch real fast, but he'd leave his boots and his skis ready out front, and he would run out and try and jump in them. And he practiced. There was one day he just did nothing but back and forth, jumping in those things.
Okay.
You're like, what are you doing? He's like, I need to get on the mountain faster.
Yeah. Wow.
So cute little stories like that are, I would hear. And just there was just a lot of fun stuff. There were shenanigans. People used to bury their liquor bottles.
Oh, no.
In Cheer 5.
Okay.
There was no bar back then.
Yeah.
It was just a different environment back then. So I heard a lot of those little stories. I don't know. There was just...
I'm sure so much.
So much. And then from there, I heard, too, just stories about how there used to be the rope tows down at Pinecrest and across from where Mina's is now and where Little Sweden was. I heard a lot of those stories, too. Okay. So people were super excited when Dodge was built and there was an official place to go.
Yeah. So if you had to choose, and I know it's going to be difficult, would you say that interviewing and hearing these stories, you like that more, or seeing the photos? I guess they kind of coincide, so that's difficult. But if you had to choose, sitting down and talking to the people and hearing the stories, or did you have more fun looking through the photos and seeing it, from the ground up?
That's a good question. Well, both. But I think it's more fun to talk to the people.
Okay.
Because you really go deeper. And a lot of times I would have photos, I didn't know what they were. And because some of them, the archives, people would drop off photos. Some were labeled, most of them were not. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of put them out and go, do you even know what any of these are? And people are like, oh yeah, I remember this and this, and start getting into really detailed stories. Some of them I couldn't print. But you learn more by talking to them.
Absolutely. You can kind of see them light up too. I know that, I keep a photo journal, and when I'm telling people and I see it, like brings those memories back and like puts it, and it's like you remember things that you maybe wouldn't have without looking at that photo. So
well, and then people would call me back too and say, oh, I remember this. Okay. I remember that.
So is there enough stories that you're going to come out with the part 2? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know about that. But maybe we could do something on the website with that.
There we go.
But no, it's pretty cool. And the other thing that happened is people get reunited through these books. Mm-hmm. And there was one person I was signing at Oktoberfest. Okay. And this lady came up and we were just chatting, and she asked what other books I wrote. And when I listed them, she said, wait a second. My dad lived in that neighborhood. And do you know? And I did know who her family was.
Oh my goodness.
And so we talked some more, and she's like, can you just write down the names? Because I want to talk to my dad about this. And he contacted me. And it turns out that he was in my aunt's class, and his wife was in my mom's class in grammar school.
Oh my goodness.
And so I've reunited him with my aunt so they can talk. And they've called me back like, that was so much fun. That was so great. And I've had other people say that too. Yeah. That they've been reunited with people.
Yeah. The power of books.
It's just really cool. And then other people have said, I didn't know that my friend's mom and dad did that. Mm-hmm. They were really cool.
Yeah. That's great. So at one point last year, I saw you and you were carrying around a stack. I mean, it was huge of all these photos. How many photos do you think over the course of this did you see?
Oh, I had over 500,
Okay.
I would say. Because the thing that happened too is I know Arcadia, they rejected a couple hundred photos.
Okay.
And I was really bummed about that.
For quality or?
For quality.
Okay.
Yeah. For print, you need them to be a certain size. And some of the photos I had original so I could scan them to that, but not all of them.
Okay.
So, and that became a challenge because there were some that I really loved and wanted in there. I was able to find something comparable for most of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other thing is it vertical? Is it horizontal? There's just that game that you have to play to make this work.
Are there any of these images that come to mind right now? Because we can put, we can pop it up on the screen of ones that maybe didn't make the book.
There were a bunch of Bob Pattons.
Okay.
He had some of the old timers,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are still around, not all of them. But yeah, if you could put those up, that would be
send them my
good.
way and I'll pop them up on the screen. So, just old ski instructors, like
Ski instructors and just people who grew up here,
mm-hmm.
and some, like I said, are still around. Some of the ones, like, do you know Chucker Twining?
I've heard the name. I've heard the name for sure.
He's been around forever here, and he had some good photos, but not all of them I could use. But they're really good photos. His family had the original chalet at Pinecrest.
Okay.
I have to think. There were a few others. I'll look.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
get those for you.
Absolutely.
And there were some too with Earl Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just didn't take pictures
Yeah, I mean,
the way
it's
you
back
do
in,
now.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah.
Awesome.
And there's so many more pictures of this place actually being built. They're really cool.
I'm sure. I saw one of them was there used to be a tunnel that went down into the restaurant. Is that right? I had no idea.
The elephant truck.
Yes. Is there photos of that being built or more photos of that?
There are more photos of it. I don't know that I have any of it being built.
Okay.
I'd have to look. But there's also just some of the cars in the parking lot. I mean, it's like, how did you get up here?
Fiats with suction cup skis to them and stuff.
I mean,
And
it's
the
like
dirt and gravel.
you think about it. It's just like, how did you do that? There's a lot more too of just people doing shenanigans on the mountain, silly things that you're not allowed to do now.
Yeah.
What did they call it? The carnival. There's, I think, a better one of the piano player.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, can you imagine? There's a piano player.
In the middle of the snow run?
Yeah, and people are, like, skiing around him, and someone went over him. That might have been Bob Patton, actually.
Okay.
It's like, you can't do that today.
Yeah. No, times have changed for sure. So what would you say, two-part question, was the most challenging part and also the most rewarding?
The most challenging was finding photos and finding people who I could match to get a good story with a good photo and getting the quality photo that I needed.
Yeah.
That was very challenging. The most rewarding was just meeting everybody and hearing the real history of what happened.
Yeah.
And how this place developed. And then even beyond that, people are coming up to me in person and sending me emails just about the memories it brought back for them. They've reunited with friends. And then people who don't have the history here have said, I feel like I'm part of this.
Mm-hmm.
I
that's
really have a deeper connection with Dodge now.
Which is awesome. Because, yeah, we're 75 years. I mean, started writing this and encompassing all that history. And now it's like, I mean, they are a part of it. It's the new chapter of, 75 years later, we're still doing the same thing. So
yeah, and I think it's just the fact that it's people's curiosity and they really do want to know the history, I think is pretty cool. Yeah. And that they relate to it. Absolutely. I mean, that's the goal. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Where can people find the book? I know that we sell it in the sports shop. Is there anywhere else?
Mountain Bookshop at the Junction has it.
Okay.
There's a couple places downtown that have it. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I mean, it's everywhere. Yeah, people are other places and want to get it, they can order it online. Yeah, it's just like a regular book.
Perfect. Yeah, fair enough.
And it's probably in some other places I don't even realize, because I know a lot of times these get into like, your CVS and Costco and things like that, but I can't promise that. I don't know.
No worries. Well, Tricia, thanks so much for, sitting down and walking us through the process and sharing some stories. It's an honor to sit down and chat with you. So.
Oh, well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.